Welcome Theory 2 students to our first video. Today I wanted to talk a bit more about non-chord tones. We've been going over those a bit recently, but let me go ahead and refresh your memory on that very topic. So this deals with chapters 12 and 13, and a review of the non-chord tones there you can find on page 186. And what were those again? Let's see. The passing tone. Passing tone passes through, so to speak, two notes that belong to the chord in a scale-wise fashion, either up or down. There's the passing tone. It's passing in between those two chord tones. The neighbor tone steps to the dissonant note and comes back, or it can go up. The suspension is where you have a note. In fact, all these non-chord tones I'm putting on top. The suspension is when the chord changes, but the suspended note doesn't change to accommodate the new chord. It's a little late. Oh, I need to change to fit in the chord. And it resolves down by step. And if you recall, the suspension is identified by two numbers. When the suspension happens, you measure the suspended note against the bass. In this case, it's a fourth apart, and then it resolves down by step, and then it's a third apart from the bass. So that is a 4/3 suspension. In the book there, example 12.2, the third measure, that's actually the 7/6 suspension. A retardation is also a suspension, but the suspension resolves up. Chord changes. Oh, that note is still suspended. It needs to resolve. It resolves up. That's called a retardation. We don't use numbers for that. It's used less frequently than the standard suspension. Another type is the appoggiatura. That's when the dissonance is approached by a leap and then resolved by step. Oftentimes in a appoggiatura, it's approached by a leap, sort of overshoots its mark. Oops, I went a little too far, and comes back. And it can also go down too. I went too far down, okay, and then it moved back to where it should go. Okay, so the appoggiatura, it leaps to the dissonance, resolves by step. The escape tone is just the opposite. It steps to the dissonance and resolves by leap. There's the escape tone resolving to the chord tone by leap. The neighbor group is two consecutive neighbor tones, like upper neighbor, lower neighbor. Or I could do it this way. Lower neighbor, upper neighbor. So it's two consecutive neighbor tones on both sides of the chord tone. The anticipation is the opposite of a suspension. There, it gets to the next chord, or one of the notes of the next chord, a little early. Oh, it got a little anxious. Now the chord changes, and there we go. So it anticipates a chord tone in the next chord. Well, I haven't gotten to that chord yet. Okay, there we go. That's an anticipation. And the last one is a pedal point, which usually occurs on the bottom, with changing chords above it. That low bass note doesn't fit. Well, now it does. That's called a pedal point. I think I gave you the analogy of a player playing the organ, and one of the pedal notes gets stuck. It can keep sounding while he or she keeps playing the organ, so it gets stuck, and that stuck note doesn't fit with some of the chords that are going on above it. So that's everything regarding non-chord tones. So your assignment then is in the workbook, page 99. And what do we have here? Just page 99 only. We have numbers 1, 2, and 3, which you are to refer back to your textbook and determine what the non-chord tones are for those particular examples referred to in the textbook. If you don't happen to have your textbook with you, I'm going to scan those pages and put them on Blackboard. I'm also going to scan this page of the workbook in case you don't have page 99 with you, so you will get it that way if you need it. And the pages that it refers to back in the text, the notes have, or certain notes have parentheses around them. Those are the notes that are non-chord tones, and those should be identified and labeled on page 99 in the workbook. That's for numbers 1, 2, and 3. And then the last one, number 4, is an excerpt from a Mozart piano sonata. There, you're supposed to analyze it with Roman numerals, blanks are provided, and non-chord tones indicated with parentheses around the notes, and labeling them as being either a neighbor or passing or something like that. So let me play you this Mozart excerpt. Okay, we'll give you a few hints here. All the notes in the lower staff, the left-hand part, the bass clef staff, all those notes fit in the chord. None of those are non-chord tones, so you shouldn't put parentheses around any of the lower staff notes. They all belong to the chord. But in the upper staff, in the right hand, there are several non-chord tones. So what are those? Well, I won't tell you exactly where they happen, but I will tell you this. There will be one neighbor tone in there. There will be a few passing tones. There will be a few appoggiaturas. And there will be one or more neighbor groups, depending on how you analyze it. I'll say that again. So there's going to be one neighbor tone in there, a few passing tones. There's a few appoggiaturas, and let's see, let's change that to 2 neighbor tones. I see another one. Yeah, there's going to be 2 neighbor tones, and one or more neighbor groups. Let me say that one last time. All right, there's going to be 2 neighbor tones in there, a few passing tones, a few appoggiaturas, and one or more neighbor groups. Okay. And when should this be due? Well, let's see. I'll make it due on Saturday, March 28th by 3 p.m. The easiest way to get it back to me is to take a photo of it on your camera. I think all of you do have a phone where you can take a photo of it, and email that back to me when you have it all finished. That should do it for now. I look forward to seeing you again very soon, and we'll be in touch. Thanks for watching.